If I could get anyone to read the Harry Potter book series, I would choose anyone interested in becoming a world leader. I would encourage them to take their time reading and to hang out with some Harry Potter fans after each book is finished. And when they've completed their literary quest, if they don't experience the impulse to form their own chapter of the Harry Potter Alliance, I wouldn't vote for them. This is Potter Watch, a podcast where Harry Potter fans imagine a better world and share our love of the story. Stories have been changing the world since our ancestors began sharing them orally long ago. Whether the stories are printed and published, or just spontaneously put together in our mind's eye, they shape how we think and feel and what we do. Welcome to episode 7, where we pause and reflect on where Potter Watch came from. I'll be sharing the backstory on the inspiration to model a podcast after the Harry Potter radio station that kept Harry and his friends connected during the darkest of times. The world needs your imagination and love of reading to put into practice what seems to come so naturally to Harry, creating a world where friendship trumps domination, a world where muggles and wizards share the magic, and help comes to those who ask for it. I want to thank all of you for downloading Potter Watch and participating in the show. It's been a joy to meet our special guests and share what comes up with everyone. At the end of each interview, we laugh and smile big, and I've always been left excited to keep going. So thanks again. And now for the first time ever, I'm going to take myself inside the pensieve. Hello, Potter Watch fans. I'm Tony Cotraccia, and it's great to have an opportunity to speak directly to all of you. After 6 episodes of Potter Watch, it seemed to me that it was time to step back and reflect on the show, and share how all this started and what it's all about. I'd also like to cover my goals for Potter Watch, and share an original Wizard Rock song. So, what was the inspiration for the show? We'll take a group of Harry Potter fans, a busy single parent and his 2 daughters, and send them to GeekyCon. Sprinkle in a healthy dose of interest in human behavior, add an awareness of human suffering to taste, and a passion for music and books, and voila, Potter Watch. If you haven't heard of GeekyCon, go to their website and check it out. It used to be a convention called LeakyCon, named after the leaky cauldron. I'd wanted to do a podcast for years, but time is always a challenge. So Potter Watch emerged initially as a way to share my time with my daughters, who I thought could help produce the show, and get my first podcast off the ground. How did the segments form? Well, what moves me about Harry Potter most is the depth of psychological wisdom J.K. Rowling displays in the series. And so I wanted to showcase the power of literature to help us process our own stories by mixing together imagination and memory. That's where the idea for Inside the Pensieve came from. The whole concept of a device that allows us to access the past so we can make more sense of the present and shape the future is brilliantly integrated into the Harry Potter series. I thought reading Harry Potter itself is a bit like a trip through a pensieve if you're open to it and let it work on you. Now, Voldemort's Corner came about because of my work as a psychotherapist. We all have what the legendary psychologist Carl Jung called our shadow aspect, or what Obi-Wan Kenobi calls the dark side. Those aspects of ourselves we pretend don't really belong to us, so we reject them. I think J.K. Rowling does an exceptional job portraying how this works through Harry and Dumbledore's deliberations about Voldemort and Harry's potential for ending up a slave to the unconscious. While putting together the prototype for episode 1, my daughter Greta said, "Dad, why don't you have a segment where only you speak?" I thought, yeah, why not? And so I added the book review to Voldemort's Corner, where I get to share some of the exciting things I've learned about human behavior and our social environment. and show that the tension to give into that dark side has been around in humanity for a long, long time. In addition, I wanted to share some insights about how understanding and dealing with that tension can bring about the best in humanity. In a nutshell, I think the failure to resolve that tension stems from the lack of a remedy in dealing with the profound sense of separation and isolation we humans carry around all the time. But more of that to come. The Wizard Rock segment was always an intention. I'd never heard of this genre of music until my daughter Sophia began sharing the trove of tunes she found several months before we went to GeekyCon. We got psyched for the trip by listening to Harry and the Potters, Draco and the Malfoys, Oliver Boyd and the Remember-Alls, and at GeekyCon, we were introduced to Tonks and the Aurors. And then, of course, there's Hank Green's collection that's inspired Wizard Rockers since the beginning. My passion for music also shows up in the Potter Watch theme and segment pieces. For Voldemort's Corner, I arranged a song by Afrobeat great Femi Kuti called Frustrations. Following in the footsteps of the founder of Afrobeat and his father, Fela Kuti, Femi sings about oppression and the struggle of everyday people. He encourages us to rise above our struggles and remain a positive force for change. I found Frustrations fitting for underscoring the redeeming quality of learning about our inner Voldemort.
Oh yeah, frustrations of a young man. Oh yeah, frustrations of a young man. Oh yeah, frustrations of a young man. Oh yeah, frustrations of a young man.
So who was a target audience for Potter Watch at the beginning? At its inception, I thought Potter Watch would be most inspiring to Harry Potter fans looking for a place to share how the series has changed your life, and to get the word out about how you are changing the world in return. I've since interviewed Jim Warren, who hadn't read the series, and after being on the show, Jim completed the series voraciously. I've interviewed Jim again to capture his reaction after having read the series. I'll share that follow-up interview in the fall. One of my favorite rehearsed questions for guests is, who do you think ought to read Harry Potter? I like this question because there are many people who haven't read the series, who are caught up in the superficial buzz about the commercial success of the books and the movies. Now, Jim I knew would be a fan from the get-go because he's a friend of mine, and I know something about his values, interests, and intellectual background. However, I think anyone who hasn't read the series would be just as turned on because of the universal pot of gold that lies within. So I'm excited by the idea of having Potter Watch available to those who aren't already Potter fans. So what have been the goals for Potter Watch? Well, I'd like to wrap up by sharing those. The first goal was to reveal how good literature is a cultural resource for positive change in the world. The brain is a social organ that constantly predicts the future by using imagination. We need stories like Harry Potter that stir our senses and give our imagination a place to explore how we will deal with the classic challenges of humanity. When we get together to discuss Harry Potter, two amazing things always happen. One is that we get together. The other is that we find ourselves confronted with real-life challenges that J.K. Rowling's characters give us insight into. My second goal is related to the first. One particular insight found in Harry Potter that I find necessary for today's world is the value of friendship in providing a meaningful alternative to coping with isolation through the search for power and control. We humans begin our worldly experience with separation and the awareness of our existential isolation, and the emotions that go with that may be the most stressful and compelling aspect of being a self-conscious animal. Our brain's been forged over millions of years, giving rise to the neocortex, or neo-mammalian brain, as neuroscientist Paul MacLean named it. We share a biological history with reptiles and other mammals through our retention of the reptilian brainstem and the paleomammalian limbic system. These regions of the brain are excellent at preparing us to fight, run, or play dead in response to signs of danger. The neocortex, though, came along, and it gave us the ability to sense safety along with danger. It allowed us to sense when it's safe, to use honest communication to talk through conflict. This capacity is key to making the world a safer place for all of us. So can Potter Watch help make the world a safer place? I think it can. My final goal for the show is to provide a fun, creative experience for us that increases our awareness of our own participation in life, not unlike a great talk with a friend does, in a way that leaves us feeling more compassionate toward each other, dark side and all. Along the way, I'm going to need your help. Send me feedback on the first 6 episodes. Let me know if I'm reaching my goals. Is there anything you'd like to hear on the show or something that isn't working? Maybe you have an idea for a new segment. Maybe you have a way to contribute to the show. Let me know, friend. And as always, keep the magic alive.
Ron, I let you drive me in that tripped out flying car. I put my fears behind me like keeping tadpoles in a jar. You let me kiss your sister while the other guys you ran through. I risked flinching with your father, grabbing 4 keys and sprinkling flu. 'Cause that's what wizard friends do. That's what we do. You don't always remember all the things that have gone on. I often ask a lot of you, maybe sometimes too much. Like when spiders come into view to lead us on another hunch. We tease Hermione and she keeps us true. Crazy ideas about you know who. That's what wizard friends do. Yeah, me and you. Here we go. Cause that's what wizard friends do. I don't expect you to worship me. There'll be no blood bond made. Don't wanna see another friend like Dobby clutching the blade. Just remember that the next time you wanna go running away, you might pull us down like Randy Lowe. We'll spring up in spite of you. That's what wizard friends do. That's what we do. We're gonna make it. Yeah, me and you. We'll get through this alright. We're gonna make it. Me and you. We'll get through this. 'Cause that's what wizard friends do. Alright.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed episode 7. Stay tuned as we look ahead to an interview with Wizard Rockers Draco and the Malfoys and see what Jim Moran has to say after having completed the entire series. I'm back from GeekyCon 2016 and inspired to feature some new Wizard Rock tunes, so if you have one you'd like to hear, let me know. Congratulations to Matt Schwab from episode 2, who was one of the geeky stars on the main stage at GeekyCon this year. Potter Watch is produced, For fans, by fans. You can reach us at potterwatchmail@gmail.com. It's produced by Tony Cotraccia in Ithaca, New York.